Hello Stampers, Michelle Zindorf here. Are you ready to build a scene today? I'm going to go step by step with this project so that you know exactly how to make it and you can even stamp along with me. Today I'm using the Scenic Adventure stamp set. This is an online exclusive stamp set from Stampin Up. It does not appear in the catalog, but it is online and I will have a link to it to take you directly to my online store where you can pick it up. It's a beautiful stamp set. I've been having so much fun with these three trees here in the past couple projects. And I love that they're different sizes so you can use them different ways. There's just a lot of different elements to this stamp set. And there is a coordinating die set by the same name, Scenic Adventure die set. So look for that too. You bundle the two up and you're going to save 10%. So I'm going to show you the past two projects that I made. So this is the one we're doing today. And these are all pretty different. Here's one that I did a couple days ago. And then we have this one that is nice and mellow, and this was the first card I created with that set. So we have three projects here. You can find the other two videos on my YouTube channel. Just check those out too. And this will give you lots of things to start with when you get your new set. So we're going to start with our main panel. And it's basic white and it's 3 3/4 square. And now I'm going to have all the dimensions for all the panels and such down below this video. Just click more into the description and you'll see them there. And along with all the links to the products that I'm using today. So starting out, we're going to punch a mask for our sun. And I'm using a 3/4 inch circle punch. Now this one's retired from Stampin' Up, but you may have a circle punch that you can use. And you can use any size. It's strictly up to you. I used a smaller one. You could even get smaller yet by using a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch even. The smaller your sun, the further back it looks and the more depth you're going to get in your scene. You can have like a harvest moon even if you wanted to with this and have like a 1.5 inch to 2 inch sun in your scene. So you just picked your size. This is a 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to go ahead and take a post-it note here, and I'm going to punch this out of the sticky part of the post-it note. So I have it here, and I'm not going to stick it on yet because now I'm going to take another post-it note. And I'm going to mask the bottom a little over half. I never like to do exactly half. I like to do a little over half here. I'm masking. There we go. And then I'm going to put my sun on. And when I put it on, I'm going to have just a hint of it on this post-it note that I put on. So the little bottom part of that is on the post-it note. And that looks like the sun is just dipping behind the water when we finish our project here. Okay, so we got that all masked. Now we're going to be using blending brushes and Stampin' Up ink for this. And I'm going to start with a beautiful color. It's called Peach Pie. This is perfect for sunsets. You know, you get that orangish look at the bottom of your sunsets. That's what we're doing today. So I have a blending brush here. And I'm taking it and I'm going to do a back and forth motion over this. I've got some on the post-it note, some on the cardstock. And I'm just going to go back and forth and I'm going to go to where it's just over the top of that sun mask there. See how we have that going on? Now I'm going to switch colors up. And I'm going to go to my next color that is pretty in pink. And it's just what it says. It's pretty. It's a pretty pink, that's for sure. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and start from the top and I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to go into that peach pie a little bit there. I like using a back and forth motion as opposed to a round motion because this gives you that streaky look in your sky. Now, it will probably be a little darker on the edges than it is in the center, which is fine. Okay, so we have that on there. Now we're going to get darker yet with our pinks. And we're going to go to Melon Mambo next. This is a strong pink, and it goes a long way. So we're going to use a little of this, and we're going to do this at the top of our sky. I find it easier so I don't cover up all that pretty and pink. I'm going to turn this around so I can put part of this blending brush on my scrap paper and part on the cardstock, so I'm not obliterating all of that pretty and pink there. See, it goes a long way there. So now we have that done. Now I'm going to remove this sun mask here, and I'm going to go back to that peach pie color, because see how stark that sun is there. Now I want it to be just a little more of that peach pie color. So I'm just going to lightly go over this just to tone that sun down just a little bit there. See, now it's not so stark in the sky. I like that look. And if you wanted to, I'm going to show you even further. If you want your sun to be even, like it's more glowy, put a little of that peach pie on the end of your blending brush and then put it in the center of that circle. Do a circular motion there, and you'll see it makes it look more like it's glowing. So that's another way that you could do your sun. You could do either or. It's entirely up to you. It's your sky. You do it how you want it. Okay, so we have our sky in. Now we need to put our water in. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up using those same colors and put it in our water. I'm going to turn this around so it's upside down. Taking that mask, and I'm going to leave just a hint of that sky showing above this Post-it note here. So it's like a 1/16 of an inch. It's just a little sliver. The problem is if you cover up the entire sky, you're going to end up with a ghost line. It's going to be a white line in between your sky and your water, and we don't want that. So that's why we have to leave a little sliver showing above the Post-it note mask. All right, so there is our mask on there. Now we're going to do our water. And I can see my sun through this Post-it note, so I know right where it is. And I'm going to take this peach pie again. And I'm going to put this color in right where that sun is. Okay? And then we're going to be coming in with other colors, which is fine. And we're going to be coming in from the side. So there was our peach pie. Let's bring in our pretty and pink. And we're going to put these on the sides. So I'm going to pick this up. Don't want to move that Post-it note, but we're going to pick it up. I'm going to turn it to the side so I can go back and forth here. I'm going to go back and forth and go into that peach pie with this pretty and pink. You may hear a cat crying. I've got her locked out. She likes to jump up here on my desk, and I don't get any stamping done, and she would be right in the middle of everything. So I've got her locked out of the room. She's not happy about that because she can hear me talking. She's like, "Who are you talking to?" Her name's Willow. She's a bossy girl. Okay, so there's my sun still. I know that, and that's where I want that light peach pie to be, underneath my sun. So I don't want to go further than that sun, so I'm just going to go up to where the sun is into that peach pie. We want that water to look like it's glowing from the sun. And see how I'm going into the peach pie, but I'm not going past that sun right here. I hope that makes perfect sense to you. And I'm getting pretty dark with this color. This is that pretty and pink. think I'm going to go a little darker on this side. Here we go. Again, I'm using that back and forth motion, only I'm going up and down on the scene. See how we have that nice bright streak here, and that's where that sun is. Okay, so we have that. That was pretty in pink. I'm going to bring in that melon mambo, and we're going to do the edges of our scene with this. Again, I'm going to have it go over to the side here. And I don't want to obliviate all of that pretty in pink there, so I'm just doing this on the sides. This side we don't have as much room, so I won't be going in as far as we did the other side. Just to get that color going. Maybe a little bit more on this side. Go in just a little bit more. There we are. I like the look of that. Okay, so we have that done. And guess what? That is our background. That's our water and our sky. Look at that. Nice, right? So I'm going to put this back on just for a second. And I want to darken our horizon line. So I'm bringing that up to where I had it before. I'm going to go back into this melon mambo. I almost forgot to darken that, huh? And I'm just using the very tip of this, and I'm going to go across the cardstock here. I just want a faint line there. That's going to darken that horizon line. And it doesn't look like that we have a cutoff, a drastic cutoff. It just makes your water look more reasonable looking. Okay, so there's our scene. What do you think? Got that beautiful color coming down from our sun. All right, so now it's time to get our trees in there, and I want to build a little island for them. So I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black for this. And I have my Post-it note here, but we're getting lots of use out of this Post-it note. And I'm going to come down about 1/2 inch there, and maybe a little further. Well, my camera shut off here, so for that last step. So I'm going to kind of repeat it just so you know where I was. I have a Post-it note here, the same Post-it note, and I have it like a little over 1/2 inch down from our horizon line there. And then I'm taking some of this Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm just making a little island here for our trees to be on. My brush is mainly on this Post-it note, and I'm going to go back and forth here, and I'm building that up to where it's thicker on the right side and pointed on the left side. And I'm going a little over halfway. So we have that done. Now I'm going to put some trees in. And the tree I'm using is the medium-sized tree in this set. There's a small one, a medium, and a large one. We're going to be using this one and this one here. So I'm going to start with that medium one. And I have it here, and I'm going to ink it up really well here. Here we go. And I'm going to stamp it on my little island here. Here we go. And I'm stamping firmly, holding that firm down. I want a nice dark impression there. So there's that. And then I'm going to use that small tree to go around it some. So I'm going to ink that up. And I'm just going to add some of these. I'm going to add them at different heights. There's one, and I'm overlapping just a little bit. I'm going to put one a little higher up here. I like that it goes a little bit off of the cardstock there. It makes it look like the scene is continued on. Okay, and let's add maybe a tall one on this side, and then a little short one here at the edge of the ground there. So there we have that. So we have our trees in. Now I'm going to take that Post-it note off. Now I have a little trick for you here. And for this, I'm going to open up my stamp set here. Oh, let's use this one. I think I already took the plastic out of that other one. This is how your stamp sets come. They have a thick piece of plastic on the back, and then they have a real fine piece of little plastic here on the front. Now, if you haven't thrown this away already, make sure you keep it, because it makes for a great mask that you can see through, which helps greatly when you're doing these scenes where you have to turn your image around. And if you had like a solid mask like that Post-it note, you wouldn't be able to see where your trees are and know where to stamp them at. So this I'm going to hold on here, and I'm going to use that same Memento Tuxedo Black and my blending brush. And I have it so that I have like that 1/16 of an inch of the island showing above this plastic piece. And then I'm going to create my island going the other way. Now I want to be much softer on this side. This is our reflection side. Okay, so you don't need much for that. See how that's very faint? I could probably go a little darker. But like I said, this is the reflection side. Now I'm going to stamp my trees. So I'm going to start again with that really tall tree here. This is the medium-sized tree that we used before. And I'm going to stamp it overlapping the stems, the trunks here. Okay, so I have that one. And if you want these to look a little lighter on this side, you can stamp off. Actually, I need my small tree now. So now I have my small tree, and I think I'm going to stamp off. That's really pretty dark for a reflection. So I'm going to stamp off one. So this is second generation. And I'm going to stamp this tree trunk. I'm going to try to line them up there. There's one. I'm going to stamp off and do that little baby tree here. See how I'm lining those up? Okay. And we'll do this one here. Stamp off again, and we'll do another one there. I think I'm going to go a little bit darker there. There we go. So now we have like a reflection of our trees that are up at the top. See how pretty that is? And takes hardly no effort at all when you have that clear piece of plastic that you're working with, so you can see what you're doing. Okay, so we have that done. I'm going to bring my Melon Mambo out again. We need some water, and this stamp set comes with a great water stamp. So that's what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to just load up that Melon Mambo, and I can go right over these trees if I want to. I just don't want to go above the horizon line. And I'm going to add some. You can even go over this part here, so you have that water behind the trees also. Okay. So now I want to stamp off when I come down a little further, like over the reflection side. I'm just going to stamp off. There we go. And I think I'll bring some down here. Now I don't want it to come all the way down to the bottom here. I want it to kind of fade out. That's why I was stamping off. So these are much lighter. And as it dries, it'll get lighter yet. So there's our water. So super simple on that also. So this scene comes together. Looks like it's really going to be a hard scene to do, but no, it's not when you break it down. And it doesn't take very long. So just stamp along with me and make a few of these. Okay, so I have that. Now I just want to put a sentiment on here. I'm going to bring my Memento Tuxedo Black out here. I'm going to add this Thinking of You stamp, and this comes out of this stamp set Simply Said, which is so nice to have. Oh, that's really blurry. I'm not sure why, probably because it's shiny. There we go. So this is the Simply Said stamp set. Has lots of fun sentiments in it that are very useful. So if you don't have a good sentiment set, pick this one up. So we're going to be using the Thinking of You stamp out of the Simply Said stamp set with Memento Tuxedo Black. And then I'm going to stamp it down here at the bottom of my scene. Here we go, Thinking of You. So our main panel is all done. So now I'm going to be putting this together. I'm going to flip my scrap paper over here so I don't have any, happy accidents by getting black ink where I don't want it. Okay, so we have that. And next I'm going to back this main panel up here with a basic black panel that's 3 7/8 inch. So it's just 1/8 larger than the main panel. So it just gives this little trim here for our scene. I think that looks really cute on this because it makes it stand out. I'm using my multi-purpose glue, and you can use any adhesive you like for this. And I'm just going to line this up. There we go. I'm going to flip it over, give it a little rub there. So that is that piece that's on there. Next I have a piece of Pretty in Pink. This is 2 by 5.5. And this I'm going to put some ribbon on. So I have the peach pie ribbon here. I'm just going to bring a piece out here that's about 1 inch longer on each side than that Pretty in Pink panel. And I'm going to put it in the middle of this cardstock, and then I'm going to just flip it over. And I'm going to use some glue dots here, little mini glue dots. And I'm going to add a glue dot for each end to secure it on the back of this panel. There's one. Here's the other. And then I'm going to push that down into those glue dots. And there we have our little ribbon on the front of this. And I wanted this, I didn't want to like glue this down because I'm going to slip another piece of ribbon underneath. So I want a good sized piece of ribbon that I can tie. I don't have to fiddle a whole lot with to tie it. So I'm just going to grab a piece here. And I'm going to tie it here on the left side of this panel. There we go. Let me flatten that out. I like to flatten my ribbon out as I'm working with it. Let me grab my loops here. And before I tighten it real tight, I like to straighten the legs out there. See how that goes? All right, so we have that bow made. I'm just going to even this up a little bit. Cut that little leg off there. And I think that's how I want this to come to a point a little bit. There we go. So there's my bow. So now I have our main panel here. Now I have my main card base here. And this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I have it folded in half here. I'm just going to use a bone folder here to crease my fold. There we go, so it lays a little flatter. Now we're going to add this on to our card front. And I want it to be a little higher. I don't want it like half and half. I want a little more room down here at the bottom. So now I'm just going to glue this on. When I glue this on, I'm going to go right over that ribbon too. And add some there in the middle. I'm going to add this on. And this comes from side to side here. There we go. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to hold it down. There we go. I want it to make good contact with it because, you know, it has that bulky ribbon underneath a little bit. So there we have that. Now we're going to just put our main panel on here, which turned out super cute. So I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals and pop this up. And I use quite a few here. I'm going to put them on the bottom and the top first. And then I think I'm going to do another row here at the bottom. I want to leave some room here for that ribbon to go through. And then I won't have that extra bulk underneath this. I'm just going to take these little backs off. Here we go, and then we can add this on. And I just kind of lay it on here first, and then I give it a look, just to make sure that it's not crooked when I put it on, which mine is a little crooked, so I can just pull it up easily. As long as I don't press it down really hard. I think I'm going to have to stand up to do this. Okay, there. I was trying to be lazy and sit down and do it. That wasn't working. Okay, so I have that done. That's on there. And all we have to do is put a panel on the inside of our card to make sure it looks nice and finished. So I'm just going to put a pretty and pink panel in there to coordinate with the front. I'm going to glue it in. Okay, I have my glue in there, and I always like to add some love in there. So I have my heart in there, and I'm just going to add this, center it up in the inside. This helps with the weight of the card too, to put a panel on the inside. You have weight from multiple layers of cardstock on the front. It's nice to weight the back about the same. So there we have it. There's our finished project. That reflection looks like it'd take you a ton of work, but it really doesn't. It goes pretty fast, and this stamp set makes it super easy. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a try. Take care. Toodles!